This is really an exciting opportunity for me because not only are you talking to a fellow New Jersey native over here, but you're also talking to a fellow Scarlet Knight over here. So we got this
No
movie.
way. Double.
Yeah, this movie was made for me in like a certain way. You know what I mean? It's just a really special opportunity to get to talk with you. First of all, let's just ground ourselves a little bit here. How are you feeling? I was there at the South by premiere. That must have been a crazy experience for you.
Yeah, man.
Recount that experience for me.
I mean, look, man, it was a dream come true, of course. I also have never been to South by or many festivals at all. I certainly had never premiered one of my own work at any of the festivals. So the whole thing, of course, was surreal. It was a dream come true. It was a little bit nerve-wracking because the first thing I think when I am in a theater is what kind of gear are they working with? I would love to talk to the projectionists. I'd love to figure out what kind of speakers we got here. Um, and because whatever they have it at, I'd like to turn it up just a little bit more because for such a sonic heavy film and multi-sensory theme, I want to make sure the sound and the screen are just right. So that was the first piece of anxiety. My editor and my co-producer, they went in there before and listened to it and make sure. And sure enough, they had to turn it up a little bit.
And what did you think about the screening? I mean, the screening went well. The audience response. That audience was raring to go.
It definitely exceeded my expectations. I mean, the audience seemed to, I lived with the cut of this film for so long in a
Yeah.
dark, empty room. So your perception of things start to change, and my relationship with the film uh, became less reliable. So it was assuring to watch it surrounded by hundreds of people who help remind you what parts are working more than others, and remind you that there's more than just you to connect with this. The others are connecting with it, and I felt in that room that people were connecting with it, and I really felt like they got it, which is, as a filmmaker, your dream.
What I'm really excited for mostly about this film is you. I think that like you are a rare breed in the sense that you started off making content on things like Vine, amazing videos. I think that for many people, you were a highlight of that sort of era. And now you're making the transition into filmmaking, which we're seeing a number of creators from that era start to sort of make this
Mm.
transition into a new medium. And I'm curious for you, beyond wanting to tell this story, which I'm sure was something that had been percolating for a long time, when did you feel like you were ready to make the jump into feature filmmaking, especially? Because even though the art forms have similarities, it really it's a big jump to take on a project as large as this one.
I thought I was ready to make a film a lot, a lot earlier.
Mm.
And the beauty of it not happening when I wanted it to happen was that I spent a lot more time with the material, and I spent a lot more time with filmmakers,
Mm.
people like Andy Muschietti, who's in the film, and Taika Waititi and Ron Howard. A lot of my filmmakers I looked up to, I happened to connect with and had them watch my work and have discussions with and became friends with during the development stage when I was like, man, time could not move any slower. This my idea is stuck in development. It started as a TV series that crumbled. I
Oh wow.
reimagined it as a feature, and then that had to go through all the proper stages. You have to write a script, you have to do a redraft, you have to address notes, then you have to do a polished draft, you have to address more
Right.
notes, and then there's a pen. Before I knew it, what started as 1 year turned into 4 years until a green light. And looking back at it, I'm so thankful because during those 4 years, I grew up a little bit. Um, I really took the time to understand this material, to write the music, to visualize every set piece. You can like the film or not like the film, but you can't tell me I wasn't prepared because when I got there and it was time to do the musical set pieces, I knew every single beat, measure, and choreography. And then some things were left to chance because that's just my process. I like improvising and finding
Yeah.
things on the day. But as far as the music and the editorial, that was in my head before we even prepped. So a testament to really taking the time to learn and grow. Had I shot this film when I would have liked, I wouldn't have gotten to meet Ron Howard and talk to him. I wouldn't have had Andy Muschietti into the film. I probably wouldn't have gotten Cami Mendes because it wouldn't align with her
Yeah.
schedule. So I do believe everything happened the way it should have. Um, Very long answer to a simple question.
But it's a fascinating answer. It gives a lot of insight into this film. I mean, let's talk about those musical numbers, right? I mean, there's a lot of different music in the film. There are the big numbers, the sort of the synesthetic moments. Then there are songs that have lyrics that are sort of interspersed throughout the film, and then you have moments that are just score that I know you also were involved with. So I'm curious if you could sort of lay out for me the creative process of the film. You know, which sort of musical elements of the film came first, and then how did it evolve to you incorporating so many different types of music?
I composed most of the set pieces before I even started writing the script. So like
Mhm.
I wrote all the music for the diner sequence and the fish market and the park years before we even got greenlit. So I'd say the music came first, and then as I was writing, I was using the musical set pieces as the catalyst for how the story would unfold, which is typically done the other way around.
Right.
So the score, the sound design, and the musical set pieces and the script were all kind of being uh, conceived simultaneously. So that's why, when I'm asked like, oh, was it hard composing, also acting and directing and also writing? Well, they were all so interwoven that didn't feel like different jobs.
I'm curious
Yeah.
if the with the lyrics especially, when
Oh
did you
yeah.
decide that it was appropriate to have songs that also included lyrics? Because to me, those it really creates a beautiful kind of melting pot when you have both these fully instrumental sequences and then you have these kind of lighter, subway numbers. So talk to me about incorporating those.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I didn't want full songs. I didn't want I wanted no song to last more than the vocal song to last more than 15 to 30 seconds. If that, I like this idea that you get little pockets of lyrical songs. That the songs in the subway were very impromptu.
Mm.
I was working around my friend Andy who plays that busker, and he said, I'm available on these 3 days. I was like, that's the last 2 days of shooting. We'll make you homeless. So he started playing the guitar, and then me and him came up with the lyrics day of.
Wow. And then you had all
But
the
I
set
knew,
design with the lyrics.
yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
I knew I wanted the play on words. I knew I wanted the play on word change. I knew I wanted someone asking for change and then transition into Rudy needs to change for all three songs, one per act. I didn't know what the lyrics would be. I didn't know what the melody would be. We did this a night before and some day of, and the lyrics on the actual walls were imposed later.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, this is really impressive to me. This feels like it's a very strong debut. And I'm
Oh,
curious
thank you. Very
for for
nice.
for someone like me who, I'm a critic, I see a variety of different debuts, there are rarely you see a debut where it feels like there's so much in it that is sort of exploding. And I have to imagine that there are a lot of influences that come from that. And, I think part of those influences probably come from your work on platforms like Vine and YouTube, but I have to imagine that there are some other films as well that influence you. So, since this is your debut, the world needs to know, Rudy, who are the filmmakers, who are the creators who influence you and who you channeled into making this movie.
Oh man, there's so many because it falls into the kind of musical comedy and romantic comedy formula. My big my big objective was anytime we're about to adhere to those rules and that structure, we gotta pivot a little bit. Where's the least
Mhm.
romantic place for two people to lock eyes? Probably a disgusting fish market. I'm really inspired by from an editorial perspective, Whiplash, Damien Chazelle. There's somebody
Amazing.
who really said to me, you can use music as a character. Um, uh, as far as musicals go, Umbrellas of Cherbourg is my favorite. It's
Okay. Okay.
the reason why La La Land exists, and I also love La La Land. Um, uh, as far as uh, unconventional rom-coms, 500 Days of Summer. Um,
Wow.
as far as color schemes and um, like aspect ratio changing in real time and temperature changing in real time. Amelie was a big one on our mood
Oh
board
wow, wow,
because
wow, wow.
they went from grounded to fantastical and warm to complete cool before your eyes. And, that's breaking a lot of rules in the most fantastic way.
I'm seeing a
Birdman,
cinephile Rudy here. There's a
I love
cinephile here
Birdman.
that's burgeoning over here.
Yeah, man. And then, of course, like there's what Iñárritu does
Hmm.
with his long duration takes is pretty special.
I sense
Um,
that in this film for sure.
it was always very inspiring to me. Birdman did something that I couldn't believe, which was converging the diegetic with the non-diegetic. So you hear this unnerving drum solo, and you're like, "Oh, that's a great, cool score." As we're following an anxiety-induced Michael Keaton, and then as we track him from the back, he goes outside, and you realize that drum solo is actually happening outside. It's a street drum performer, and I'm like, "Whoa, you can do that?" So yeah, I was inspired by so much of what I saw. Oh, and then the chapters. I'm a big Scorsese Tarantino nut, and I love how they chapterize all. Well, not all, but for Tarantino, all of his films, and I love chapters. And that's what inspired the idea of maybe there could be six chapters in this, and every chapter could be a musical term that also applies to what Rudy's going through. So dissonance is a music theory term, but
Right.
dissonance also applies to the dissonance in Rudy's life. So yeah, I was inspired by and stole from all kinds of places.
I hope that this is the first of many conversations, Rudy, because I can tell that there's a lot going on there that is going to make for hopefully a career of what will hopefully be an exciting series of films. Um, it was such a pleasure to talk to you, Rudy. Congratulations on this film. Best of luck to you in the rollout, and I'm sitting here anxiously awaiting the sophomore feature, man. I can't wait to see it.
Ah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words.